Early on, there was 2 ambulance companies run by EMTs. It was pretty much transportation. They may put oxygen on you, or if you had a cut, they may put pressure on it, but it wasn't much more than transportation.
And then we had vans, and then we had Suburbans. And the Suburbans that was the one you wanted. When you got to work and you checked in and you said, okay, what truck do you provide me? And I said, well, you're in that one over there, and you were hoping it was 15, which was one of the Suburbans.
30% of the patients that had life-threatening emergencies were coming in by basic life support ambulances because we didn't have any advanced life support ambulances available at that time. There were no trained dispatchers dispatching the right ambulance, so it was hit or miss.
In the mid-1970s, 2 events would dramatically change the level of health care given by first responders. Peoria City Council passed a new ordinance mandating any ambulance company within the city provide paramedic service. Additionally, Peoria's 3 hospitals acquired both the ACE and Green Cross ambulance companies. The new undertaking would eventually be renamed Mobile Medics.
And at the time, there was no paramedics or anything working in ERs or anything, so it was a brand new type of endeavor.
But 4 years after its formation, Mobile Medics was losing money.
It was struggling financially and had been struggling financially for quite a while, and the hospitals basically were subsidizing the organization.
They had 2 bosses. The paramedics were at the hospitals. The basics were run out of the company. And within the hospitals, there were 3 different bosses, and they were at each hospital. And at the same time, there was no one looking at what was happening overall delivery of the care.
So at that point in time, we said, okay, if we're going to stay in providing ambulance services, then we need to figure out a better way of doing it. And at the time, then one of the main things we did is we decided that we needed to change leadership, go out and find someone who had shown a very successful track record elsewhere, and that was Andrew Rand.
I'll never forget. The original idea I had, I took to Jim Moore, who at the time was CEO of St. Francis. And we had in that day a carousel projector and Ektachrome slides that we projected the image of those slides onto a hanging sheet. He pushes back from the table, and I see him leaning to look around the people that were at this boardroom table. And I remember him looking at those slides, and I thought, I think I got that guy's attention.
Any new organization needs strong leadership with lots of energy. Andrew fits that bill. He's a very energetic, very committed guy to the needs of the organization, and so I think he was a tremendous choice to take a startup company and build it into what it is today.
Peoria Hospital's ambulance service operated with 2 clinical philosophies. The EMT, or basic life support crew, was available, and then there were paramedic or advanced life support crews available. Based on what information was available from the dispatch 911 centers, they'd send the really good truck to the really sick patient, or the not so good truck to the not so sick patient. We proposed a business plan and a capital plan underneath it to completely remake Peoria Hospital's mobile medical services.
That change began to take form in this building on North University Street. Here, a new model for the Peoria area's EMS system was implemented, but it would not be an easy transformation.
We had rented a warehouse that had a lot of shop space, and as I recall, we had about 10,000 square feet in the office spaces on 2 stories, and it had previously had a glass company in it, so it had some kind of cool interior space on the first floor, and then a great big industrial shop space where we would work on the fleet.
It was a 2-story building, and so the administrative offices were located on the 2nd floor. The administrative assistant's office was right at the top of the stairs. Pat Brown was her name, and she actually broke an ankle. And I forgot how she broke it. I think she fell at home, but anyway. So our job every day when Pat got there at 7:30 in the morning was to put her in a chair and then carry her up the stairs. So, and then of course at 5 o'clock when she got off, we had to carry her back downstairs in a chair as well. So we kind of had double duty in terms of, the the offices were relatively small, and of course you could hear Andrew every time that he would make his entrance, and so you could really kind of judge his mood of the day based on the heaviness in his footsteps as he climbed the stairs.
The same was true when people were coming up to see me. If they stopped at the top of the staircase in front of my old assistant's office, I knew they were trying to find out what my mood was for the day. The front office, I remember, was a simple little door, and you literally walked right into our billing and dispatch areas. And before we started using computers to track and resource our fleet, we had little time cards that were redone as ambulance dispatch cards that they were storing in little plastic racks. And that's how they would keep track of what status the unit was in. Was it en route to a call? Was it delivering a patient at the hospital? Was it clear?
There were some days where we were running out of vehicles. We didn't have enough vehicles to meet the demand.
We were always under a time crunch because we had a very small fleet at that time with very little reserve and a large call demand. I've had Rex putting parts on cars and helping me out on that aspect of it, and Andrew's done the same.
A lot of us wore different hats, a lot of different hats. We were challenged as far as working lots of hours. There'd be days I'd be there for 2 days straight, but that's the commitment that we had to the community to make sure we got the service up and running.
As AMT became established, it was evident its first home was insufficient in space and layout. AMT needed a new location, one specifically tailored for its workflow and designed with an eye towards future expansion.
When we built this building, I think that was a major event. Because I'd never built anything, and I don't think the hospital's ever imagined we'd say, let's build 30,000 square feet. We actually got our own financing, and you'll remember in the beginning the bank said we were unbankable.
When I started here, it was a new facility here for us, and we had outgrown the one on University. I had been a student at the time through ICC, and had been going with them and riding. I think the biggest thing I remember is going there and seeing all the ambulances parked outside. There was not a garage, there was a mechanics bay, and unlike the facility we have here where all the ambulances are parked inside, out of the elements and out of the weather, back then we had them lined up outside the building.
This building was built with the help of all the employees. We all submitted some ideas and what we wanted to have done or things that we liked. The original footprint, as it is today, still facilitates the day-to-day operation, and it's always better in terms of, again, efficiency. It's all about quick response time. So when they're here, they punch in, they get out on the street. You don't have a lot of people crossing paths. You know, it's a matter of going from here to the ambulance and getting the things done in terms of getting your truck ready to go. It takes very little time because of the layout of the building.
Back when paramedic service was first required by the city, area hospitals began offering classes to train personnel to fill the positions. By the time AMT formed, the needs of the community and the service area had grown. The number of qualified people available was not sufficient to meet the demand.
So even when you started looking out of our area, you didn't find a lot of basics or paramedics to really draw from to get the employees you needed. So Andrew's thought was, you know, if we train them ourselves, we can train them in a fashion that we know that they're getting the information they need to have. They'll have the skills that we need for them to be able to deliver the proper patient care. Very shortly after that, we realized we really didn't have enough space for that to occur. So at that time then, the building was designed with an addition that we have 2 classrooms. One is a very nice theater style classroom, one is just more of a level class.
We come in, we teach, we show everything about this profession to the new person. I mean, we even teach CPR. We start at the first responders level. We do everything that we can to make sure everybody that comes through AMT, comes through all the programs, leave well educated.
That is a sinus rhythm.
We realized though that, you know, we weren't always having basic and paramedic classes, and that this could be used for a community resource.
It's become a community center. I mean, the health department's training in food safety, Neighborhood Alliance is meeting here every month on Peoria neighborhood issues.
We had hospitals that were our business associates and partners that needed places to provide continuing education and additional training to their staff.
The kinds of people we have sharing our space with us make it really very fun. And the fact that most of them are connected to healthcare gives us a chance to create a relationship outside of the general relationship we have.
Along with maintaining and increasing personnel skills, AMT has continuously upgraded the tools and technology available to its staff.
When we started, technology was really kind of low on the list with regard to the purchases. If you look at the way it was in 1991, you spent a lot of money for radios. That was where the technology, and maybe on a cardiac monitor.
We always send the closest unit to emergency calls. And in the past, we'd often have to, if a truck wasn't at where they were supposed to be, what we call posts, where we sit around the city, if they were maybe moving to a post or coming from the hospital to a post, and we didn't know they were there or not, we'd have to ask them, hey, where are you at this location? Where are you going? What is your actual street location? They would go ahead and give that back to the dispatcher, and the dispatcher would look and see if they were closer than the other recommended unit, and that's how that worked. We now have what we call AVL, which allows our dispatchers to actually look on a map screen and see where the ambulances are at in the city, sort of like a GPS type unit. Our ambulances also are outfitted with computers in them that they can look up the maps and they can see where their calls are at. When I started here in '96, we were Pekin and Peoria. And as the years have gone, we've actually grown and added markets.
We have expanded our scope into a regional effort. We've provided smaller communities with different models of service that provide them service that they may not have had before or were not able to sustain, because a lot of the smaller communities were geared more around the volunteer agencies.
Those communities saying, we need help. Our particular services are not up to date. We perhaps are losing money in delivering those services. We need managerial, technical, and clinical help to administer the service in our community.
We provide emergency care and non-emergency scheduled calls for in Streator, Illinois. We also took over Mercer County, which is the Lido area. We also recently branched into Iowa, into Iowa City.
But probably the most important thing we did was make sure our call center could not be interrupted. That's a EF5 tornado-proof room, and the power and HVAC is all outside in bunkers as well for it. So it can sustain damage in our business and keep operating. You're seeing our latest expansion cover our philosophy that nothing can disrupt our services.
With this facility, what we just built, we have room to grow. We have room for more call takers. We have room for more dispatchers. And as our company grows, we can grow with it.
We have all this high-priced software, but it's really the care and compassion and the training and skill sets of those paramedics who are there that really make the difference. We just give them tools. It still takes an intelligent human being to apply them in a compassionate way to relieve pain and suffering.
We're not into bricks and mortar. Patient care has always been the main goal here. Quality, compassionate, timely, cost-appropriate patient care.
Part of that goal has been AMT's continuing commitment to positively affect the lives of residents in the communities it serves through various outreach programs.
Our community partnering efforts are really kind of eclipsed by what I would consider to be a public access defibrillation program second to nobody's, and we call it our Cardio Reviver program. We've trained over 16,000 people, and we've placed over 500 defibrillators throughout the communities where we have markets. And the most important thing in that is that those defibrillators placed in the hands of properly trained individuals are faster than any police, fire truck, or ambulance.
There have been a few instances where we know that they have saved lives. There is one school that did have a school teacher that went into full cardiac arrest with the students in the room, and the students went to get help. The adult brought in a defibrillator, and the teacher was brought back very quickly.
It's provided us an opportunity to have a huge impact on the community. There are families out there that have loved ones today still with them because of our efforts to make sure that we fund our Cardio Reviver program.
It began as a way to improve Peoria's response to medical emergencies. It has become a vital asset. In just 2 decades, AMT has moved from a slide presentation to a company whose services stretch beyond Peoria and across state lines.
When we go to national trade shows, national conferences, Advanced Medical Transport is a name that they know of. Our model is such that it's been successful, and people know that. The best part is when they're providing some sort of education on a standard that we've had here, and they're rolling it out as something that's new, and our people are like, we've been doing that for years.
It is a very good organization to work for because they set very high standards, and I'm very proud to be a part of AMT. Yeah. And I know that they're always looking towards the future. The management here likes being on the cutting edge, and I think that the hospitals expect that from us. Happy 20-year anniversary, AMT.
Happy anniversary, AMT.
Happy 20 years, AMT.
Happy 20th anniversary, AMT, and I hope you have many more.